I grew up adopted. Just one person. All right, give it up for adoption. Woo! That's what they said to my mom. Give it up for adoption. Yeah, I grew up adopted, but I was adopted twice. The first one didn't take. Last week I was doing a show for Humane Society. So I said, I am a rescue, and I was rehomed. Makes sense, they got that. Okay, cool. Yeah, when I was a kid, I grew up at a time when there was kind of a stigma about being adopted, and the other kids at school would make fun of me. Yeah, I haven't even told you what they said yet. And it's already, aww. You're not gonna like me that much here in a minute, don't worry. Yeah, the kids would be like, Brian, why do you go home after school? You don't have a real family, you're adopted. That's mean, right? Yes. Thank you. Well, I was a horrible person even then. Well, at least I know my family wanted me. Yours had to take whatever popped out.
Good answer.
But my adopted parents were not great at being parents. When I was 7 years old, our family cat died, and we dug a hole in the backyard to bury it. I'm standing there next to the grave, I'm holding my mom's hand, I look up at her in the eyes and say, Mom, am I gonna see Toki in heaven? Now, you might think that she ruined my childhood telling me that cats don't go to heaven. That is not what she said. What she said was, Brian, as an adopted child, you were conceived out of wedlock, so you don't have a soul. So I was the one not going to heaven. Toki would be there, make no mistake, living it up with a catnip and cat food, little rubber mouse. And they took me to church every week. Why? I'm actually glad they took me to church. I did stand-up comedy for the very first time in church.
Nice.
When I was about the same age. There was a pantyhose company called Legs. Yeah, the plastic egg, you remember that? And I had seen a commercial where a precocious child spoke up at an inopportune moment about the state of her mother's pantyhose. And on this particular Sunday, it was my mom's turn to read the scripture. And as she walked up to the altar and to where the microphone was, I felt an irresistible urge. This urge that swept over me. And my clear, youthful soprano voice rang out in the sanctuary, quoting the crux of this television commercial. That's my mommy, the one with the wrinkly pantyhose! And it killed. Waves of laughter moving over me. I had never felt anything like it. I had never felt so alive. Until we got to the car. The second time I was adopted is a much better story. When I was in my 30s, I was reunited with my biological mother, and in my 40s, she adopted me back. Right? Yeah, thank you. No, it's awesome. We get to see each other, we talk all the time. The thing is, she lives in Mississippi, and that's where they did all the paperwork. And what's weird is they used the paperwork date as my new birth date. So I have a Mississippi birth certificate that says I'm 13 years old. Or as they say in Mississippi, time to settle down. Being 13's okay. My wife says my body is going to start going through some strange and wonderful changes. I told her if my voice drops again, she's not going to be able to hear me. She said that'd be okay. Oh, I found out my whole family is super smart. My mom is a nurse practitioner, so she has a master's degree. Her husband, my stepdad, I call him dad, he has a PhD in finance. My aunt is a PhD MD, so she's a doctor. Her husband's an attorney. Their daughter and her husband are both PhDs. Her son and his wife are both Chinese translators. My youngest brother is a teacher with a master's degree headed for his PhD, and my other brother and his wife both have PhDs in computer science. And I'm a comedian.
Real job.
In the basement of a library. In Niles. Talking to a bunch of people who make software to keep track of metallurgy. I don't know what you
Pretty close.
Yeah. You sell dreams. Could be anything. No, but growing up, I was always one of like 3 or 4 Brians in every class. And so it was Brian M, Brian B, I'm Brian A. So it's really easy to find me on social media and stuff. It's Brian A, comedian. See what I did there? BrianAComedian.com. On Facebook, Brian A. Comedian. On Instagram, Brian A. Comedian. YouTube, Brian A. Comedian.
Nice.
TikTok, Brian A. Comedian. So if you guys learn one thing today, Brian A. Comedian. There you go. You guys got it. Great, wonderful. Yeah, but my name is very simple. It's just B-R-I-A-N. It's Brian with an I. It's not Ryan. There's no sometimes Y in there. But every day I get a text or an email and somebody spells my name wrong and it comes across like part of the human anatomy. Brain. I heard you say it. That's right. Thank you for playing. We have some lovely parting gifts. Hey, Sean, can you toss me a bottle of water when you get a second? Thank you. I'm gonna dry up here in a minute. So when they spell my name wrong, I figure I have permission to spell their name wrong. So I write back, thanks, liver. Thank you. Thanks, liver. Sure thing, spleen. And my friend Bob, I spell his name with 2 O's. We call him Bobo. I have a bunch of friends named Steve. Oh, by the way, welcome to the Midwest where there's a shortage on names. Yeah, a bunch of friends named Steve. I have little nicknames for them so I can tell them apart. There's Stever, Steve-O. There's Architect Steve. He's an architect. There's Yahoo Steve. He works at Yahoo. There's Garbage Steve. He's kind of an idiot, but I didn't want to be insulting. Oh, there's Girl Steve, Stevia. She's very sweet. It's the puns over here. Got it. Don't worry, there's more. And then my brother is married to Michelle with just 1 L. She's Michelle. And my other brother is engaged to Michelle with 2 L's, so she's Michelle Lama. My wife's brother just got married this year to, wait for it, Michelle. So she's new Michelle. One of my oldest and dearest friends is Michelle. And I love her dearly, so I can't call her old Michelle. No. She's the first Michelle. The first Michelle. Yes, it's sing-along time here at Underground Laugh Lounge. With my family, they are all in the South. I grew up in the Chicago suburbs, and I worked on the radio for quite a while. And as part of that, I had to learn to lose my Chicago accent. And I did, except for one word, and you might have already noticed it, the name of the city, Chicago. It's not Chicago. Well, my folks also grew up in the Chicago suburbs and then moved down to the deep south where they've been for the last 50 plus years, and they don't even sound like Yankees anymore. Except my dad, when he's making gumbo, there's one word, and see if you can spot it. All right, now when you make the gumbo, you gotta get your onions and your celery and your peppers, that's the Holy Trinity. You make a roux, you put a bay leaf in there and some Creole seasoning, and then you gotta shove in a bunch of sausage. You got it, good job there, yep. I'm sorry, Dad, what's that? Yeah, you gotta put in some andouille sausage. That's the most Chicago word of all time, Dad. Sausage. Yeah, the very first time I ever talked, well, actually, you know, with my name, you would think that, you know, them all being PhDs when they pronounce it, it's not brain, of course. But with them, because they all speak Southern, it would phonetically be B-R-I-I-I-I-I-I-N. Brine. I don't know if they're making a turkey or a batch of pickles. The first time I ever talked to my youngest brother on the phone, I called up our mom's house. Some landline days. A landline. It's a phone. Okay, all right, got it. All right, cool. All right. So I called the house and he answered, hello, David? Oh, hey, Brian, man, a friend of mine, we just talking about you, friend of mine, baby, we're gonna hop on it and take a look at it. Could I talk to Mom? I thought I had called that guy from King of the Hill, Boomhauer. Mom, I think David's having a stroke. The thing is, he's a teacher. He teaches petroleum science. He can speak clearly. He gets up in front of his class every day. All right, now today, class, we're going to talk about propane and propane accessories. He's the entire cast of King of the Hill. The first time my two brothers and I met, there was the three of us, we were at our mom's house and we started looking through photo albums because I didn't grow up with them, they didn't grow up with me, so we didn't see any of this stuff growing up together. And looking through, paging through it, and I start cracking jokes because that is what I do. And you guys don't have any of me. My brother goes, wouldn't it be creepy if we did? I mean, could we even get a picture of you? You don't have a soul. But we do have pictures of your cat, Token. And that's how I knew I had real family.